When I booked the place, I barely glanced at the listing. I just needed something cheap and close to the wedding venue. One night, in and out. It was off-season in this little Vermont town, and the Airbnb was only $42 with cleaning included. It looked normal. A blue farmhouse with white trim, 2 floors, big windows, one host who lived on site, a guy named Colin. Private room, shared bathroom. A little old-fashioned, but clean. What I remember most is how many glowing reviews it had. Quiet. Charming. Colin was lovely. Felt safe. Would stay again. They all said the same thing, in different words. Colin was in his 50s. Friendly, but careful. He met me at the front door with a polite smile and a clipboard. He showed me to the guest room upstairs, clean, small, just a twin bed and a dresser. Then he pointed down the hall to a door with a padlock on it. "Please, don't try this one," he said. "It's not safe. The floorboards are soft, and the room hasn't been used in years." I said, "Okay." He added, "I don't enter your room. Please don't enter mine." Simple, fine. I didn't think anything of it. The first weird thing happened around 2 a.m. I'd gone to bed early, since I had to be up for the ceremony the next morning, but I woke up to a sound in the hallway, soft, dragging footsteps. Not hurried, not creeping, just slow, heavy. I figured Colin was getting water or going to the bathroom, but then I heard something else. Scraping. Metal on wood, like someone dragging a keychain along a door. I sat up, the footsteps stopped, then knock, knock, knock. 3 short taps, from the locked room. Then silence. I stayed in bed, eventually fell back asleep. But the next morning, when I came out to head for the wedding, I glanced down the hall. The padlock was hanging open. The door was closed, but the lock wasn't latched. I didn't say anything, just left early, spent most of the day trying to forget about it. That night, I came back around 11. Colin wasn't in the living room. Lights were dim. The house felt colder than before. I went straight upstairs. The padlock was back on, closed tight. I got ready for bed and turned off the light. I lay there for a while, thinking about home, about how the flowers at the wedding looked fake, about how I didn't really know the bride that well anymore. My thoughts drifted. Then came the sound again. Footsteps, hallway, right outside my door. Then another sound. A tap, tap, tap on the wall. My wall, then silence, then whispering. Low and muffled, like someone talking just behind drywall. Not loud enough to make out the words, just breath and rhythm. I waited until morning, didn't sleep. When I came out, Colin was in the kitchen. I asked him, casually, if someone else was staying in the house. He gave me a long look and said, "Number, just you." I nearly left early, but I was exhausted, and it was already paid for. I went back upstairs to pack, and on my pillow was a photo. Small, black and white, Polaroid, of me, asleep, taken from the hallway just outside the cracked bedroom door. I ran down the stairs, photo in hand. Colin was gone. I banged on the locked room. Silence. I checked the front door, deadbolted from the inside. I called 911. When the police came, they checked the locked room. Inside was a mattress, rotted, torn. A pile of Polaroids, not just of me, dozens of guests. Sleeping, dressing, sitting on beds, from different angles, different years, and behind a false wall, they found a narrow stairway down to the basement. The kind that doesn't exist on blueprints. The kind no one builds accidentally. Colin was arrested. The news said voyeurism charges, but I know it was more than that. The photos weren't just creepy, they were collected, arranged, sorted. Some were marked with red ink on the back, a name, a date. Some were labeled returned. Mine wasn't. Mine just said, keeps eyes open while sleeping. Unusual. No tapping response. Keep observing. I haven't stayed in an Airbnb since, and sometimes I still wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of someone dragging a keychain down my hallway. I booked the Airbnb because I was emotionally wrecked. Simple as that. My long-term relationship had just ended, badly, and I didn't want to sleep in the same bed I used to share with someone who now ghosted me harder than a murder mystery podcast. I picked a random small town 4 hours away, filtered for entire place, and clicked the first one that had a neutral color palette and didn't look like it smelled like bacon. It was a basement suite, newly remodeled, modern furniture, 1 bedroom, private entrance, 4.97 stars, over 300 reviews. That gave me comfort, and maybe that was my first mistake. I arrived at 6:12 p.m. on a Thursday. The host, Nate, texted me right after I parked. "Hey, just so you know, I'm upstairs in case you need anything. Enjoy your stay." His tone struck me as too friendly, but I brushed it off. I walked around the side of the house, past a tiny herb garden and an awkwardly placed bird bath, and entered the suite. It was cleaner than expected. Fresh towels, scentless soap, the kind of Airbnb that tries so hard to be invisible you forget it's someone else's home. Still, something felt arranged, like a movie set of normal. I unpacked, opened my laptop, sat on the couch, and stared at a YouTube homepage full of things I didn't care about anymore. That's when I noticed the small camera sitting on the shelf. A baby monitor pointed at the door. It wasn't hidden. In fact, it was deliberately visible, like it was there to comfort me. I texted Nate, "Hey, just noticed the camera. Does it record or is it just live feed?" He replied instantly, "Oh, that's just for safety. Totally not recording. It just shows the door. I can remove it if you want." I told him no worries, but that was lie number 2. The first was pretending I was okay. That night I tried to sleep, but the house made noises, not spooky creaks, just too many of them. Like someone was constantly adjusting their position upstairs. Chairs scooting, cabinets opening, the faint hum of a garbage disposal at 1 a.m. I put on headphones. And in the morning, I found something strange. On the coffee table was a printed note that hadn't been there before. "Let me know if you'd like blackout curtains. I have extras." No header, no formatting, just plain printer paper. Which meant Nate had been inside. I messaged him. "Thanks for the offer. Didn't see you stop by. Did you come in this morning?" His reply took longer this time. "Oh no, I left that last night, but maybe it slid under something and you missed it. Sorry, if that freaked you out, haha." It hadn't slid anywhere. It was centered on the table. I decided I was being paranoid. Told myself, this is what healing looks like: suspicion, withdrawal, isolation. I told myself that again when I noticed the toothbrush in the bathroom wasn't the one I brought. Day 2, 3:44 p.m. I was working on my laptop when I heard a knock upstairs, then a creak, then nothing. 5 minutes later, my host texted, Just checking. Everything okay down there? I replied yes. Then I added, Hey, are you sure this suite is private? Thought I heard someone upstairs coming down the steps. He said, Yep, just me and my dog up here. She walks heavy Lowell. I hadn't heard a single bark since I got there. Later that night, I took a shower. When I stepped out, the bathroom mirror was fogged, except for a perfect circle wiped clean, right at eye level. I hadn't done that. That's when I decided to leave the next morning. I didn't cancel, didn't want to trigger some penalty or confrontation, but I started packing. At 11:30 p.m., as I zipped my duffel shut, my phone lit up. A notification from the Airbnb app. Please confirm your stay is going well. Host Nate has submitted a photo. I opened the app. There was a low-resolution photo of me, asleep on the couch, taken from the exact angle of the baby monitor. I panicked, called Airbnb support. They said they'd flag the host for review. I asked if that meant he could still see me right now. They didn't answer directly, just told me to remove myself from the property if I felt unsafe. So I left. Drove to a Motel 6 down the road. Cheap, grimy, perfect. I locked the door, didn't sleep. 2 days later, Airbnb refunded me and removed Nate's listing. His reviews, all gone. But here's what really messed me up. I Googled the address just out of curiosity, and there it was, still listed. Not on Airbnb, on a different platform. New pictures, new host name, same coffee table, same couch, same baby monitor on the shelf. Except now, in the fourth photo, there's a person on the couch. Face turned away, hoodie up, lying in the exact position I slept in that first night. And just barely, if you zoom in on the reflection in the TV, you can see someone standing in the hallway. It was the most beautiful Airbnb I'd ever seen. Seriously. Floor-to-ceiling windows, white oak floors, mountain view from the deck, and that kind of carefully staged minimalist interior you only ever see in real estate ads or celebrity homes. I stayed there while visiting an old college friend in Colorado. Just 2 nights. No red flags. The host, Vanessa, had 532 reviews, all 5 stars. Not a single complaint. Her profile picture was of her in a garden, holding a glass of wine. Something about it felt stock photo level, serene. The listing mentioned she lived nearby, but we'd never meet unless needed. Fine by me. When I arrived, everything was exactly like the photos, which is what made it weird. Every knife in the kitchen drawer was polished. The blankets folded with surgical precision. Even the fruit bowl was symmetrical. There was a little chalkboard sign in the kitchen that said, "Welcome, Liam. Your safe place awaits." I hadn't told her my name was Liam. My profile just used my initials. I figured she looked it up from my email, thought it was a nice touch. The first night was uneventful, just me, a bottle of whiskey and a playlist I regretted 5 songs in. But something happened around midnight. I walked into the kitchen to grab water, and the chalkboard said something different. Same handwriting, same placement. But now it said, "You're going to sleep well tonight." I stood there for a full minute trying to decide if I was too tired or too drunk. I took a photo, sat on the couch, checked the photo again. It matched. I texted Vanessa, "Hey, just checking. Did you stop by and update the sign?" No reply. I went to bed a little uneasy. Chalked it up to a scheduling mix-up. Maybe she had a camera in the kitchen and was just being overly friendly. Still weird. But the second night was worse. When I came back from dinner with my friend, the house smelled different. Not bad, just familiar. It smelled exactly like my apartment back home. Same detergent, same kind of cheap vanilla room spray I use on laundry days. Then I noticed the coffee mug by the sink. It wasn't the Airbnb's mug set, it was mine. I had that exact mug. Bought it from a diner 3 years ago on a road trip. I texted my friend. Weird question. Do people ever copy Airbnb guests' stuff? She just sent back a laughing emoji. Later that night, I noticed the guest book. It was tucked in a drawer in the living room. Hardback, blue leather, pen clipped inside. I hadn't seen it before. The first few pages were what you'd expect. Such a peaceful stay. Vanessa thinks of everything. Can't wait to return. But further in, the entries changed. Still polite. Still glowing. But off. She really gets me. I don't want to go home anymore. Vanessa made me better. Then, one that stopped me cold. This is the version of my life I wish was real. The next page had no writing, just a photo of someone sitting in my spot on the couch, wearing my jacket. I slammed the book shut and opened the Airbnb app, clicked on the reviews, and realized every 5-star review had the exact same structure. Same length, same tone, slightly different usernames. The profile pics were blurred, generic names, no bios, no listings of their own. One review read, 5 stars, I came back twice. Another, I'm still here. I messaged Airbnb support, told them something felt off. They said they'd escalate it. They didn't ask what I meant. I packed that night, planned to leave before sunrise. But when I went to the door, there was a note. Folded, tucked into the lock. My name on the outside. Inside, in that same handwriting as the chalkboard. Leaving so soon? We haven't finished learning you yet. That's when I realized what the place really was. The house wasn't made to host people, it was made to copy them. Every detail was feedback. Every stay was data. Every guest book entry, curated, cultivated, reshaped. I checked the drawers again, looked behind furniture, found a notebook behind the TV. Pages of notes, bullet points, observations, written in first person. Like someone had been narrating my thoughts before I had them. He likes to stay up late even when tired. Stirs whiskey twice, never once. Sits left foot crossed over right. Hesitates before mirrors. Tomorrow we'll try coffee from his favorite brand. I left, didn't sleep, didn't shower. Just got in the car and drove until I hit a Denny's. Told myself I'd report the listing. Leave a warning, flag the account. But I didn't, I was afraid. Because when I got home, I noticed something. My apartment looked cleaner than I left it. Same exact detergent smell. Fruit bowl perfectly centered. And on my fridge, written on a magnetic whiteboard I'd never owned. Welcome back, Liam. Let us know how we can improve next time.